So good morning. Welcome back to management lessons. Still, we have a small part to complete in planning session. So first of all, I will discuss the small part of planning lessons. 3.3, we had to commence our session from 3.3, effective control system, the 6 A's. Right. When we determine the effectiveness of the control system, there are certain factors to be considered. If these factors are fulfilled, then we can say control systems is effective. For easy reference, we have identified 6 A's which should be available in an effective control systems. So we'll look at about the 6 A's. The first A is acceptability. So I'm looking about the 6 A's. Right. The first one is acceptability. Acceptability. So what is the meaning of acceptability? This should be acceptable to the people who will operate it, to the people who will operate it, Not only that, fit with their needs and expectations, fit with their needs, and expectations. And the culture of the unit. So look at the first factor, the acceptability. So this should be acceptable to the people who will operate it. Now, you look at the control systems, this is something that should be acknowledged by the people who operate the control systems. For an example, the management. The management may implement the control system. So whatever the control system you are going to introduce should be acceptable to the management, right? So fit with their needs. Their requirement should be met, and it should be matched with the culture of the unit also. So culture is something connected mainly with the people. So people should accept this particular control system. If people are not going to accept the control system, then that will not be a successful one. That will be rejected by the members. So therefore, the effectiveness will not be there. Right. Then the second one is accessibility. Acceptability. So what is the meaning of acceptability? So in terms of the ease of understanding and operation, ease of the understanding and operations. So acceptability refers to ease of understanding and operations. So whether this can be easily understood by the people who are involved within the control system. If people are not in a position to understand this, so this will not be a successful one, right? Therefore, it should be a much easier one to understand for everyone. Then the third one is adaptability. Adaptability for changing condition and demand. For changing conditions and demands. Conditions and demands. So adaptability for changing condition and demand. Now, your control system should be capable of adapting to changing condition and demands. For an example, suppose you are going to consider a particular process. Suppose now there is a IT system. So when you have IT systems, the manual control you may have adapted may not be valid in the future. Therefore, so the similar control measures should be able to adapt with the IT system. If the control system can't be adapted with the new IT system, then it's not an effective control systems. Then the fifth one is appropriateness. Sorry, before that, fourth one, action orientations. Action orientations. Action orientations. So that deviation trigger corrective action or improvement. So what is the meaning of that one? Action orientations. So that deviation trigger corrective action or improvement. Corrective action or improvement. Now here the requirement is your control mechanism should suggest corrections or the improvements. So oftenly I have experience, so oftenly a particular control system tell the deviation but not suggesting the improvements. For an example, auditing. So auditor may identify the weaknesses a particular process is having, but will not tell how it should be corrected. So that's not a good control systems, right? You must tell how it can be corrected also. That is the meaning of action orientations. Then the appropriateness. The appropriateness mean to the circumstances and skill and need of the people operating. Its appropriateness to the circumstances and needs of the people operating. Its needs of the people operating it. So here meaning is whether it is appropriate to the circumstances. අවස්ථාවට ගැලපෙනවද කියන එක. To the circumstances and need of the people operating it. So to the prevailing environment, it should be appropriate. That the meaning here. Then the final one, the sixth one is affordability or cost effectiveness. Affordability or cost effectiveness. So what is the meaning of this one? Affordability or cost effectiveness. Here the meaning is the benefit should be more than the cost of the control systems. It's a very simple meaning. The benefit you are obtaining from the control system should be more than the cost involved with the control systems. If I take very simple example, suppose a particular organization has identified that there are some misappropriation of A4 sheet in the organization associated with the photocopy machine. So organization has found that photocopy machine is misappropriated by the staff members, some of the staff members. Now, for example, they use the photocopy machine for their personal use. Now, what organization want to do? They want to stop this. They introduce a control system. They put someone in front of the photocopy machine. Whenever you go to get a photocopy, that guy will check whether this is the official one or not. If only the official one, they will, that guy will allow to print it. Oh, photocopy it, right? So suppose the cost of that guy is 10,000, right? Then after implementing of the control mechanism, suppose the stationery cost has come down to 5,000 from 10,000. Right? In that scenario, the cost associated with the stationery saving is how much? 5,000, no? But how much you have spent to introduce that control system? 10,000, no? You have to spend 10,000 rupees, right? So therefore, net gain is 5,000 rupee. Is that appropriate control mechanism? No, no. Why? The benefit is less than the cost involved. I think it's clear for you, right? So with that, we'll move to 3.4, types of controlling. Types of controlling. Right. If you look at about the type of controlling, we can identify three main type of control mechanism. Three main type of control mechanism. Feed forward control mechanism, concurrent control, then feedback control. Feed forward, concurrent, and feedback control. We look at about this control mechanism, objective of the each control mechanism. This feed forward control mechanism is a more proactive approach. This is more proactive approach. Feedback control mechanism is more reactive approach. More reactive approach. Proactive mean it think in advance and try to avoid the mistakes or the errors. Reactive mean when something has happened, you try to make the corrections. Here, if you look at the feed-forward control, if you look at the time period, this is future-oriented. Concurrent one, this is present-oriented. Reactive, this is past-oriented. This is past-oriented. Under the feed-forward control, the main objective is to prevent something happening. Here the key objective is prevent. You want to prevent something. And the concurrent one, here the objective is to minimize the loss. Minimize the loss. Minimize the loss. Then the feedback one, objective is to avoid similar happening in the future. Avoid similar happening in the future by taking corrective actions. Here you will take corrective actions. Avoid similar happening in the future. Right. Now here under the feed-forward control, here the objective is to prevent of occurring something or happening something. Concurrent one, here the objective is while a particular process is being taken place, listen very carefully what I am telling here, while a particular process is being taken place, identify whatever error is occurring and capture that and then take corrective actions. Now here to some extent damage has been occur, but while it is happening you capture that. You are not waiting until a particular process is completed. Right? So while operation activity is going on, you capture that. Through that, you expected to minimize the damage. But here feedback control, here, and now this is happening after completion of a process. Now at the end of a process, you identify errors or mistakes occur, then, right, so you analyze the reason for that and take corrective action to avoid similar thing in the future. This is more past oriented. Right. For an example, feed forward, one of the example is provide training to employees. Provide training to employees. What is the objective of providing training to employee? So employee will get the required knowledge to perform a particular task. By doing that, right, so they will be able to upgrade their skills and will do the task properly. In other words, will not do any mistakes. Right? Concurrent example is segregation of duties. Segregation of duties. segregation of duties. By segregating the duties, you want to avoid any mistake is happening while you are doing a particular task. Another example is employee supervision. Employee supervisions. You closely monitor the work of the employee. Right? So while employees are doing the task, someone is supervising the work. If employee has done a mistake, he capture that and correct it. Right? Feedback. Example, testing output. So after you have manufactured good, you check the quality of those output or the finished good item, and you identify some of the issues with them. Right? If you have identified some of the issues, then you check the reason for that, then take the corrective action in the future. If I illustrate this is further to you, if security guard is there in front of a particular organization gate, what do you think about that? What type of control that? It's a feed-forward control. When security guard is there, no one can assess that. Right? It's a feed-forward control. Then if I take another example, suppose security guard not in front of the organization or near the gate, is inside of the organization and monitoring the people enter into the organizations through a CCTV camera. What do you think about that control? That is concurrent controls. Concurrent control. So when he monitoring, suppose he found that some suspicious guy enter into the premises, right? Then he alert the relevant persons. So then you try to capture, no, during the process. That's an example for concurrent controls. Right. If I try to combine these three controls with the organization process, input, conversion process, output, this is feedback. If we look at about feed-forward control is implemented on input. Feed-forward control is implemented with input. Concurrent control is involved with the conversion process, ongoing activities, no? Therefore, it is connected to the conversion process. Output control, this is feedback control. Based on the output, you try to identify the errors. Feedback controls. Right. If I illustrate this further to you, if you do exercises, right, to avoid any health disease, that's an example for feed-forward control. Before something is happening, you avoid it. So you have already captured, but you take medicine and control your health issue. That is concurrent control. The next one, you are not taking medicines. Then when something badly affected to you, right, you try to check that one. It's then too late, no? From your case. From doctor's case, your case may be used by doctor to teach other patient and avoid similar thing is happening with the other patient. That is feedback controls. Right. So we'll look at about the note also. Types of controlling. There are three main type of control in an organizations: feedback, concurrent, and feed forward. We look briefly at each of these methods. First one, feedback. Feedback is a form of control that take place after a process or event has happened. Already has that is finished, and as such is historical in nature. අතීතයත් එක්ක සම්බන්ධ වෙනවා කියන එක past. It is therefore not possible using feedback control to prevent the event from taking place. Rather, corrective action will be applied to future activities. Here the objective is to take corrective actions. For example, a credit card company may put a block on a card after a fraudulent transaction has been made using the card. It is not possible for the fraudulent transaction prevented after it has already occurred, but blocking the card will prevent further fraudulent spending. Already fraud has been done, but card company stop further transaction, so that will avoid the future frauds. The rightful card owner would be issued with a new card, the detail of which have not been compromised. Then the right card owner may be given a new card. Then another example is customer satisfaction surveys. Customer satisfaction surveys are another example of a feedback controls. Then concurrent. Concurrent or process control take place while the process is usually occurring. This is usually achieved through the application of rules, standard or procedures to the systems. Now, this is happening while the process is taking place. For example, impose segregation of duties in an accounting system can prevent an unauthorized transaction being made. So, I give the same example, segregation of duties. The aim of concurrent control is to establish condition in which it would be very difficult for abnormal activity to occur. Then feed forward. Feed forward or proactive preventive control aim to anticipate or detect a problem or abnormal activity before it arises. You want to capture some abnormal activity. For example, installing non-slip floors in a newly built factory aim to improve employee safety by preventing accident from occurring in the first place. One example is given. Right. Then we look at about the next also 3.5, technology and control. Technology and control. Right. So here we are going to look at about the impact of technology on the organizational activities, right? And how control system should be focused on these changes. What do you think? Is technology changing rapidly? Yes. I'm sure during the quarantine period you may have experience, even IS has experience, and now they want to have online classes, no? The physical class mode will not work under this type of scenario. See how technology has affected to operation of IAS. Yes, technology is affecting badly to the organizations. So we'll look at how different ways we can consider from control point of view. So look at the note. Technological development have had a profound effect on the way organization operate and the work of the various function within them. Profound effect, that means high impact on the way organization operate and the work of the various function within them. The managerial control is no exception, and the impact of technology on control can be seen throughout the organization. So we'll check how technology has impact on the controls. There are some examples given. Right. Look at the first example given. Physical security. Physical security is enhanced through computerized systems such as card entry control to building and biometric control such as fingerprint recognition to allow access to systems, devices or building. And look at that example given here. Physical security. You can බෞතික වශයෙන් අපි apply කරන පාලන ක්‍රමයන් කියන එක. Physical security is enhanced through computerized system. Now you apply computer system to implement physical security. Here some example is some example are given. One of the example given is card entry control. That means a particular user is given a card to enter to the premises. If you don't have the card, then you can't enter. So you have to close that card to a machine. Then the machine will read whether you are allowed or not. Card එහෙම නැත්නම් තමන්ට තුල්ල යන්න බෑ. දොර ඇරෙන්නේ නැහැ. ඒ කාඩ් එකත් එක්ක තමයි කාඩ් එක මෙහෙම ලං කළාම දොරේ පොඩි කෑල්ලක් තියෙනවා. අර රීඩ් කරන කෑල්ලක්. ඒකෙන් රීඩ් කරනවා. එතකොට තමන්ට දොර ඇරෙනවා. එහෙම නැත්නම් කාඩ් එක නැත්නම් තමන්ට යන්න බෑ. දොර වැහිලා තියෙන්නේ. Right? So that is one example. Card entry controls. Controls such as fingerprint recognitions. This is very common nowadays in organization. Fingerprint. To access the organization, you should keep your fingerprint. Then the door is open. Allow access system, devices or buildings. Right. Then look at the second example given here. Information security. Earlier we talked about the physical security. ඒ කියන්නේ ආයතන ඇතුළට එන්න තියෙන බාධකයන්. භෞතික වශයෙන් ආයතන ඇතුළට එන්න තියෙන බාධාවන් තමයි අපි ඉතින් කතා කළේ. control mechanism. දැන් අපි කතා කරන්නේ ඊළඟට කතා කරන්නේ information security. ආයතනයේ මේ විවිධ තොරතුරු පද්ධති වල තියෙන තොරතුරු ආරක්ෂා කර ගැනීම සඳහා තිබෙනා වූ පාලනයන් මොනවද කියන එක. Information security is simply information security is similarly strengthened due to access control for system as well as specific system control limit and control access to various aspects of the system to authorize individuals, enforce segregation of duties and enforce authorization processes and so on. I see that information security is similarly strengthened due to access control for system. For example, everyone can't access to computer systems. To access the computer system, username and passwords should be there. Without using your username and password, you can't access to information within the computer. So that is one of the access control. As well as specific controls to limit and control access to various aspects of the operation authorized individual. Even for individual who access, control has been introduced for them also. For example, if there are 10 information available, so you define on what information each guy can access. Suppose for example A can access only the first 5. He can't access next 5. Suppose B, he can access only 2 and 4, like that. So you define the authority level also. Right? Enforce segregation of duties and enforce authorization process and so on. Here also segregation of duties are there. Then authorization process will be involved. The next one is data management technology. Look at that one, data management technology. DMT allow managers to allocate and use resources more effectively and can allow information from multiple sources across the organization to be collateral, organized and analyzed to allow for better decision making. Data management means normally it allow you to deal with different database systems. If you have data management technology, then you can deal with different information available in the database. Actually, data management technology monitor the database activities. Through that, actually, you have to do all the transaction with the database. For example, the processing should be authorized from the database management systems. Right. The centralized data allow head office staff to quickly and cheaply gather information from remote division or branches and take action as required. What is centralized data? Centralized data mean, right, now through this IT system, different branches are also connected with the head office. For example, what head office people can do is from the head office, they can access the branch data since system is connected. So it is helpful. So they don't want to get physical data from the branches. At any time, they can access and get the required informations. Then real-time data collection and processing further enhance the speed with which decision can be made or corrective action taken as the data is collected and processed in such a way for problem to be identified as they actually take place. Real-time data mean no need to wait while the transactions are taking place. You can get the information up to date on that particular time. Now, for example, suppose now someone has done a sales transaction, right? So when you access system, that sales transaction is also recorded. Real-time data is available. That's the meaning. Traditionally, actually, we didn't have real-time data, right? What accountant did based on the sales invoice, vouchers, later, they enter those information to the system. Those transactions didn't take place on real time. Therefore, if you go to the system and check, you can't find real-time data. Sometimes data for the yesterday is available if you access today. Until you enter those transactions, right, we don't have real-time data. But nowadays, you have system which work with the real-time technology. At any time, you can get the real-time data. Then the next one is production monitoring system. Production monitoring system can be used in production department to flag downtime, report errors, identify bottlenecks, measure machine speed, and monitor the productivity of the workforce. Now, you have some production monitoring system. Through that, you can get a lot of information. For example, you can identify the downtime. You can get a report at what time system was down. That information can be used for control purpose. Then you can identify bottlenecks. Bottlenecks mean where something is happening very slowly, right? That affects the whole operations. That is bottleneck. Then again, system එක අනිත් ඒවා බොහොම වේගෙන් සිද්ධ වෙද්දී system එක කොටසක එක තැනක් තියෙනවා. එතන බොහොම හිමින් වෙන්නේ වැඩි. ඒක ඇවිල්ලා bottleneck එකක්. ඒතකොට අපිට system production monitoring system එකකින් ඒක අඳුර ගන්න පුළුවන්. Right? Measure machine speed and monitor the productivity of the workforce. Even productivity of the employees can be monitored through this particular monitoring systems. For example, you can identify who are more efficient, who are not efficient. Right? Then next one, inventory tracking systems. Inventory tracking systems. Inventory tracking systems allow for the continuous monitoring of inventory levels and order tracking. They automatically update balances as to reflect changes whenever there are movements in inventory, and orders can be automatically placed with suppliers when certain levels are reached. So you have an inventory tracking system. You identify the current inventory level, right? So when when new items are received into the store, that is also automatically captured and updated. Not only that, actually, you can define a reorder level. When the inventory level come down to a particular level, from the system itself, automatic order may be placed with the suppliers. That is inventory tracking systems. Then next one is automated incentive systems. Final one is automated incentive systems. What is that? Automated incentive systems. For example, a system can be used to track commissions, giving the sales team read access to this data can encourage staff to work harder to hit their targets. Automated incentive system, for example, a system can be used to track commission, giving the sales team read access to this data can encourage staff to work harder to hit their targets. Now here actually you have some system which calculate the incentive for staffs. For example, suppose sales guys, you have given a target for sales guys. Right? So sales data automatically in the system from this incentive system, so which calculate the commission automatically. For example, you have me given a formula to the system, we'll say 2% commissions. From each sales transaction, it automatically calculates the sales commission available for each guy. Right? So based on that, actually staff can identify the total sales income of them, then the commission they have entitled. So that will help them to identify their weaknesses and work harder to achieve their targets. Right. So with that, we can finally finish the planning sessions. So it took, I think, how many days I came actually. Even IAS I came 3 days, but very, very short time, right? So today also I had a very small session, but finally we can complete this planning session, right? Then we'll meet with the next topic, organizing in next day. Right.